proceedings for today. Let us just, sit in silence for 15, 20 seconds and communicate and connect with the sage. Namaskar and welcome to everyone on the 142nd Jayanti of the Sage. We are all very thankful and pray and, give our love and respect to the Sage for having guided us, to the state of self-realization and then self-abidance and finally self-absorption. So to start the proceedings, I would request Vijay Gokranji for the invocation prayer. Thank you.
Hari Om, everyone. We'll start with 3 Oms. Gajananam Bhutganadisevitam Kapitjambufalsara Bhakshanam Umasutam Shokvinashakaranam Namami Vigneshwara Padapankajam. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nitya Shuddham Nirabhasam, Nirakaram Niranjanam, Nitya Bodham Chidanandam, Gurum Brahma Namamyaham. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe, Tejas Vinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Narayanam Padmabhuvam Vasishtam Shaktincha Tatputra Parasharancha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogendra Mathasa Shishyam Shri Shankaracharya Mathasa Padmapadancha Hasta Malakam Cha Shishyam Tantrotakam Vatikakaramanyam Asvad Gurun Santatamana Tosmi Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatapadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punaha Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. So after these invocatory prayers, we will do some Guru Stotram. All of you all have the handout, so you all can mentally and as in your positions, you all can repeat it as well, along with the, I will repeat the meaning as well. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The Guru is Brahma, the Guru is Vishnu, the Guru Deva is Maheshwara, Shiva. The Guru is verily Parabrahman, Supreme Brahman. Salutations to that Guru. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Salutations to the Guru, whose form is an indivisible whole of presence, and by whom is pervaded the moving and the non-moving beings, by whom is revealed out of grace that feat of indivisible presence. Salutations to that Guru. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Salutations to the Guru, who removes the darkness of ignorance from our blind inner eyes by applying the collyrium of the light of knowledge, by whom our inner eyes are opened. Salutations to that Guru. Stavaram jangamam vyaptam yatkinchit sacharacharam tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Salutations to the Guru, by whom is pervaded all the movable and immovable objects, as well as the moving and non-moving beings, by whom is revealed out of grace that feat of all pervasive presence. Salutations to that Guru. Chaitanyam Shashvatam Shantam Vyomatitam Niranjanam Nadabindu Kalatitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Salutations to the Guru, who is the eternally tranquil consciousness, spotless and pure, and beyond the ether, who is beyond the Bindu, Nad, Kala. Salutations to that Guru. Na Guru Radhikam Tattvam, Na Guru Radhikam Tapaha, Na Guru Radhikam Jnanam, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Na Guru Radhikam Tattvam, Na Guru Radhikam Tapaha, Tattva Jnanat Param Nasti, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Salutations to the Guru. Neither is there any reality beyond the Guru, nor is there any austerity higher than the Guru. There is no knowledge of truth beyond what comes from the Guru. Salutations to that Guru. Mannatah Shri Jagannatah Madguru Shri Jagadguru Madatma Sarvabhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Salutations to the Guru. My Lord is the Lord of the universe. My Guru is the Guru of the universe. Myself is the self of all beings. Salutations to that Guru. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadusham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Salutations to the Sadguru, who is the bliss of Brahman, who is the bestower of supreme joy, who is the absolute, who is the embodiment of knowledge, who is beyond duality, who is boundless and infinite like the sky, who is indicated by the Mahavakyas like Tattvamasi, thou art that, thou art that, who is one without the second, who is eternal, who is stainless and pure, who is immovable, who is the witness of the intelligence of all beings, who is beyond the states of the mind, who is free from the three gunas. Salutations to that Sadguru. Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti, Puja Moolam Gurur Padam, Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam, Moksha Moolam Guruhor Kripaha. The root of meditation is the form of the Guru. The root of worship is the feet of the Guru. The root of mantra is the word of the Guru. The root of liberation is the grace of the Guru. Hari Om Tat Sat.
So that is it, Vijayji?
Yes, and I think we can move on to the Ramana Namavali.
Yeah, okay.
Om Mahasen Mahoshen Jataya Namah. Om Shri Ramanaya Namah. Om Gurave Namah. Om अखंड संविदाकाराय नमः। ओम महौजसे नमः। ओम कारण उद्भवाय नमः। ओम जगद्वितावताराय नमः। ओम श्री भूमिनाथ स्थल उत्थिताय नमः। ओम पराशर कुल तमसाय नमः। ओम सुंदरार्य तपः फलाय नमः। ओम कमनीय सुचरित्राय नमः। ओम सह्याम्बा सहायवते नमः। ओम शोणाचल महोली नमनसाय नमः। ओम स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ओम श्रीमद्वादशान्त महास्थले लंबवीध्योदयाय नमः। ओम महाशक्ति निपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ओम परमार्थविदे नमः। ओम तीव्राय नमः। ओम पितृपद अन्वेषणे नमः। ओम इंदुमौलिनाप्तृमते नमः। ओम पितुरादेशतः शौणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ओम तपोमयाय नमः। ओम उदासीनाय नमः। ओम महायोगिने नमः। ओम महोत्साहाय नमः। ओम कुशाग्रध्यै नमः। ओम शांत संकल्प सरंबाय नमः। ओम सुसंदृशे नमः। ओम सवित्रे नमः। ओम स्थिराय नमः। ओम तपक्षपित सर्वांगाय नमः। ओम फूलाम्बुज विलोचनाय नमः। ओम चंद्रिकासितहास श्रीमंडितानन्मण्डलाय नमः। ओम च्युत्वास्यास्मासीनाय नमः। ओम चूर्णित अखिल विभ्रमाय नमः। ओम वेद वेदांत तत्वज्ञाय नमः। ओम चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ओम त्रिगुणात्मिकाय नमः। ओम विरूपाक्ष गुहावासाय नमः। ओम विराजत चलकृतये नमः। ओम उदितनयनाय नमः। ओम पूर्णाय नमः। ओम रचित अचल तांडवाय नमः। ओम गंभीराय नमः। ओम परम आचार्याय नमः। ओम सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ओम अभयप्रदाय नमः। ओम दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः। ओम धीराय नमः। ओम दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ओम स्वराजय नमः। ओम महर्षये नमः। ओम भगवते नमः। ओम इर्याय नमः। ओम भौमविद्या विशारदाय नमः। ओम विमलाय नमः। ओम दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ओम आप्ताय नमः। ओम ऋजुमार्ग प्रदर्शकाय नमः। ओम समदृशे नमः। ओम सत्यदशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्री शोणाचल अद्भुत स्कंदाश्रम निकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सुदर्शन उपद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृंद परिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेश मुनि भृंगेन सेवितांग्रि सरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीता उपदेश सार आदि ग्रंथ संचिन्न अंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रम मत अतीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्व अवनिमत स्थानम आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मरामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनि इंद्राय नमः। ॐ पावक उज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शन आदत संहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्व आत्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ वृक्षान्तिकर सान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरण आगन्द मोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तः तिमिर चण्ड अंशवे नमः। ॐ संसार अवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणादृश स्तुतिदस्ते नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्या प्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युत निज प्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिक महातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलूधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवनसाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगभिषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्यै नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्री रमणाय नमः। ॐ
Okay, thank you, Thakurji. We will go on to the next item, which is talks on the teachings of Ramana Maharshi. So, Surbhiji, you are the first one for the talk. So, can I just bring you in, please?
Namaskar. I've compiled a few incidents from Day by Day with Bhagwan and Talks with Bhagwan, where he's brought on as one of the greatest altruistics of all times, the altruism of introspection. So the first is taken from Day by Day with Bhagwan, 5th Jan 1946. A visitor from Sri Aurobindo's ashram asked Bhagwan, "You say self is the only reality, and world an appearance, Maya. But we see pain in the world. A man is hungry. It's a physical reality. It's very real to him. Are we to call it a dream, Maya, and remain unmoved by his pain? Bhagwan, till you reach the state of jnana and thus wake out of this Maya, you must do social service by relieving suffering whenever you see it. But even then, you must do it, as we are told, without ahankara. That is, without the sense, I am the doer, but the feeling, I am the Lord's tool, akarta bhava. Similarly, one must not be conceited. I'm helping a man below me. He needs help. I am in a position to help. I'm superior and he's inferior. But you must help the man as a means of worshipping God in that man. All such service too is for the self, not for anybody else. You are not helping anybody else, but your own self, because there is no other. The another is a talk 361. 14th was the time when Ramana Maharshi was living in Virupaksha cave. So Bhagwan and Mudaliar Swami, they were once behind the Skandashram site. And there was a tall mountain around 15 feet high. There was a cleft next to it. They heard the cry of a shepherdess girl. She was crying in sorrow. Bhagwan asked what the matter was. She said that a sheep has fallen down into the cleft. Bhagwan, without taking any time, got into the cleft, took hold of the sheep, took it up, the sheep on his shoulders, and brought it on to the surface. According to Mudaliar Swami, that was truly a remarkable feat for any living human being. And the last talk is about a devotee who came back from the funeral visit and asked Bhagwan, is it mandatory to take a bath after visiting a funeral? Bhagwan said, of course, you need to, but not the usual bath for the body. Body is just a corpse. You need to take a bath into the self, dive deep into the self, the real you, and you will be cleansed forever. Now, my take on that, these talks, I would like to end with a short poem. क्यों मन की तरंगों में यो विचलित मौन के सागर से न मिलते हो क्यों कंकरों में यो उलझे मोती को न चुनते हो क्यों शूद्र का चोला ओढ़े ब्राह्मण अंग को ढकते हो धन्यवाद. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, yeah. That's the poem is written by yourself, is it?
Ji.
Oh, oh. Thank you,
Thank you.
Surbhiji. Okay, we'll move on to Subhaji now. You there, Subhaji?
Yes, Sanalji.
Okay, all right.
Pranam to one and all. So I'll start with invoking the prayer to Ramana Maharshi. Om Ramanaya Om Namo Ramanaya. So throughout this journey, I would like to see this Jayanti as a way of gratitude to Anilji, to Ramana Maharshi, and to the Rishi, who always, at the right times of crisis, they have always given the right pointers. So some of the pointers I would like to share are just below. The next slide, please. So the very first transmission from Bhagavan was to use the words silent, changeless witness at all times in your every aspect of life. This will swiftly take you to self-realization. So this was one very beautiful solace that I got at the initial stages of our satsangs, because at all times, the witness was always there at all times of chaos, at all external and internal chaos. So the witness was very beautifully non-judgmental, which was It is here right now, and it is always here. It doesn't say anything, it's always there. So it was something that gave me so much solace, and it's still that is something that I really, really am grateful for these words. The silent, changeless witness. Next, please. So as the journey prolonged, Anilji had very beautiful satsangs where he took me from one stage to the next by intuitively contemplating on the view, and then slowly bringing into the awareness that the images are just like the waves in the ocean. This was intellectually understandable for me at some time, but the witness was so close to my heart. I started developing I could see the self only as the witness, but I could not see it as in the images. So there was a lot of inaction in my daily life. I could not work with the images. I was always sitting in meditation. I was always trying to be in silence, observing all the thoughts coming up, but I could really not work through life. So I think this is work still in progress. And I'm really grateful for this one pointer where Anilji said, contemplate each of your image, that is your thought, your emotion, and your body, whether it has arisen out of itself or has it arisen out of the self. There is nothing that is ever out of the self. Everything comes from the self. So you just start contemplating on this, and daily life is going to be in the self. So no need to worry. So he keeps saying that, and this is one of the most important merger where spirituality has started slowly blossoming in physical reality as well. So just not in meditation, but in daily life, I'm slowly contemplating on the true nature of images. So I'm very grateful for this particular pointer from Anilji. Next slide, please. And Master Bainsa, do you know? He's really the invisible master who is guiding me. His presence, I always feel it in as silence, because I really haven't met him in physical reality. But I take Master Bainsa, and the sage Ramana Maharshi as the silence within me, the silence that is ever present, who is guiding me through the manifestations of three masters. He just told the first transmission from him that all the light within each being is the self. So when this is realized, everything is realized. I think this is the thing that Anilji has been trying to communicate to me with all his satsangs, trying to contemplate the light within each image as well. Because the light of consciousness has taken its image Rupa in the physical form, and the image and the witness is no different. And this is, I think, the ongoing process of contemplation. And thank you so much. So I hope, I really pray with the deepest of my heart that all beings come to absolute happiness. May all beings see the self in all beings. Thank you.
Thank you, Subhaji. Yeah, that was well spoken. We've got Nehaji next. Nehaji, can you please come on?
Namaskar. Surbhiji's and Subhaji's talks were really inspiring. I just have a few similar things to add. The world today overflows with spiritual content. It is almost so easy to read some inspiring words every day and feel a sense of temporary inspiration. However, many of these words mostly speak to our minds, and they are thoughts that can soon disappear like wisps of smoke, leaving one again in states of doubt and confusion. For me, the eternal gift and legacy of Ramana Maharishi's teachings is that they offer an unshakable truth and a steadfast path, which, even if sometimes forgotten due to the games of the mind, is never lost once gained. Somehow I feel that this spiritual teaching offers a positive affirmation rather than a negation. Instead of putting one's energies into negating thoughts, negating the body, etc., attention is brought to the one thing that lies prior to, behind, within, and at the center of it all, which is always present, the I, the self, the unchanging awareness. It is a deceptively simple teaching, as Anandji has taught many times, that we have had many experiences and memories in our life, but that which has always remained at the center is I. Further, that all the things that appear in front of us, they appear just as they are, prior to any thought or feeling, simply because of our Atmic body, the divine intuition from which all conscious perception emerges. This teaching is so simple but magical. You can suddenly feel the closeness of the divine. The divine is looking through your own eyes. It is that immediate. By routinely meditating on these simple facts, I have slowly felt a sense of calmness and trust begin to build inside. The benefits are not only spiritual, but also in everyday life. For example, I find it easier to listen to my own inner voice, to my conscience. The noise of the many me's inside me, each speaking a different emotion, need, ambition, or dream. Their temporary nature becomes more and more visible, and slowly their power over me reduces. These are ongoing learnings on which much work is required. May Ramana Maharshi continue to light my path and all of us who seek his grace. That's
Hello, Ruchika ji.
Yes. Sorry
Okay,
about that.
that's okay. That's all right.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Firstly, Om Shri Guruve Namaha. I bow down to the Guru who has taught me everything. And there are many gurus in this life, and I have had the good fortune of coming across lots of them. Now, I just wanted to touch upon my spiritual journey. I embarked on this spiritual journey by pursuing the three principles of Vedantic practice, which is Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, meaning listening to the scriptures, understanding and reflecting on them, and then hoping to establish myself in the truth. I undertook study of Bhagavad Gita and many Upanishads. So the Bhagavad Gita taught me the changeless nature of the soul. I quote, "Weapons cannot cut it, nor can fire burn it. Water cannot wet it, nor can air dry it." Then the Mandukya Upanishad taught me to remain in the Turiya state, the state which underlies and transcends the three states of consciousness. The three states of consciousness being waking, dream, and deep sleep. All this knowledge was intellectually very stimulating, but there was an impatience in me to realize my goal, which was the self. Around this time, I came across Ramana Maharshi's teachings through the book, Who Am I? And that was the time when I think the Ramana seed was planted in my life. Thereafter, I had the opportunity to visit the Ramana ashram as well in Tiruvannamalai, which itself was a very transformative experience for me. Regular satsangs with Anilji helped me realize and understand and gain clarity on the knowledge of the self, for which I'm eternally grateful. Ramana Maharshi's teachings actually made me understand that there was nothing new to seek, nothing to strive for, but rather a need to give up the wrong notions and concepts. The self is here and now and alone. So the notion that I am the body, the belief that I am this limited being is the biggest impediment in the progress of one's goal to self-realization. I will quote from one of Anilji's satsangs, where he said, "Conscious awareness, that's who I am. It is neither grandiose nor humble. It's simply the truth. Understand this deeply, and the battle is over. Understand this without reservation, and there is no more struggle. Realize this fully, and the search has come to an end." So I feel we need to get clarity of knowledge and a firm conviction in the Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I will conclude with Ramana Maharshi's quote, which really moves me, and that is, "Bliss is not added to your nature. It is merely revealed as your true and natural state, eternal and imperishable. You are really the infinite being, the self-absolute." Om Ramana. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchikaji. Very beautifully spoken.
Thank
Next, we have got Parmeetji. Parmeetji, can you please come online?
Yep. Thanks, Anilji. Rajivji, if you can move to next. Yep. Thank you for that. So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. As you can see on the screen, I have picked a couple of teachings from Bhagwan, which has made a huge difference in the way I look at things and lead my life. Let's go through the first one. Here Bhagwan says, "Bliss is a thing which is always there and is not something which comes and goes. That which comes and goes is the creation of mind." And in conjunction to this, Bhagwan also says, when you see that the mind invents everything, all will vanish. The good will vanish, the evil will vanish, and you will remain as you are. So when you reflect at it, when Bhagwan says bliss is a thing which is always there in quote 1, and when you let go of your thoughts, good or bad, what is left is just you in quote 2, it is fair to say that we in our purest form, which is not affected by images created by our mind, is in a blissful state. And this has been instrumental in changing the way I see the world within and outside me. Like most of us, I had my anxiety about be it work or my personal life. My mind would frequently dwell in the past or worry about future. And what I was missing in my life was a realization of present. And with blessings and guidance from Bhagwan and Anilji over the past 2 years, my perspective of life and how I see things have changed. I have now realized that most of my life I was dealing with images which appeared, sustained, and then disappeared. And when it left my mind, it gave me fear, anxiety, sadness, and even happiness. But now I observe my thoughts. I see if I need to give my attention to it. I still have my challenges with images and I have to make a constant effort to be in that state. But like many of us here in this forum, I would like to be in that state effortlessly, which we call is a self-abidance. With Bhagwan's and Anilji's grace and guidance, I hope to achieve it at some point. Probably achieve is not the right word because self is always there. I just need to be one with it. And that's pretty much I had to say. Thank you everyone for your time.
Okay, thank you, Parmeetji. Very well spoken. Thank you. We'll move on to Mahindraji. Mahindraji, can you please come online?
Good afternoon, everyone. Everyone has spoken very well. And many of the speakers who have, they have achieved a lot. I know that, everyone is saying that we don't have to achieve anything. We have to experience that we are one with the Brahman. And this is what have been happening in my life for the last more than 20 years when I first met Anilji. I've been a student of, belonging to a Hindu Brahmin family. And I've been a student of spirituality from childhood. And when I met Anilji, my spiritual journey has taken a turn. And that happened, I said, more than 20 years ago. And I'm still, on the path. I just want to start with one recent talk with Anilji, which I want to share with you. I asked Anilji one question. few weeks ago, or months ago, that, how can I measure my progress on the spiritual path? How can you measure the progress? You are what you are. You are the self. So those things, there's no creation, there's no creator, there's no all those things, and there's no path. There's nothing to be achieved. You have to realize that you are the self. You have to be one with the self, with the capital S. So this happened recently, and one very famous quote, which I think many repeated, and they say, like, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect. And this, I have been hearing this for many, many years, and I'm trying to experience this thing, that when we say that I'm not the body, so I'm not the mind, I should never be, like in Hindi, we call it Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. So all these 5 things should not affect me at all. If that quote is right, and that quote is right, it is in Bhagavad Gita, it is in many scriptures, especially in the Advaita Vedanta philosophy. So, I mean, if we follow this approach that I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, and I'm not the intellect, it comes to the fact that, I'm beyond all these things, and I am the Brahman, I'm the self. And there's a lot of frustration, anger, a lot of, dissatisfactions in life. I think they can be removed. Look, another incident which I think everyone is, shared some incidents with Maharshi. One of the devotees asked Ramana Maharshi one day that, how we should treat others. I've been in corporate world for many years, and we ask people, how they should be treating others. And the Ramana Maharshi, and people generally respond to the question on the lines that we should treat people the way we wish to be treated. That's a very simple answer. And I have been using this answer for many years. But when I read Ramana Maharshi's answer to this, he said, there is no others. What are you talking about? So that is right. It clicked my heart that I was looking for, there is no 2 things. It's just one. Everyone is one. So that was one reflection which really clicked my heart and my mind. And the other thing, one thing I found that there is 2 terms which really, attract my heart or mind. I mean, we say that I'm the self, but, we use all these terms in a daily life. One is God's grace. The second one is when we get what we want, or we plan, or we desire for it, or whatever we do, and we get that. So we, often we say that our prayers have been. So this is the God's grace. But if we don't get what we want or what we desire for, in that case, if we say that this is the God's wish, or this is what God wanted, so it is same as God's grace. So that will take out a lot of frustration, dissatisfaction, anger, and everything which we're thinking about. We should accept it, happily and heartily, and say, look, this is God's decision. And I know that one, saying that is the, I'm imparting myself as, like 2 things, like myself and God. But, at the end of the day, it is one. It is the self, which I remember from Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says that somebody asked Bhagavan that, do you think that with helping others, or, donating assets or something, that will take us to moksha? He said, God doesn't need your money. God doesn't need your help. God doesn't need anything. Self doesn't need anything. Self is, is supreme self, is above all. So if you want to donate, if you want to help others, you should learn the nishkama way of doing it, or the, nishkam karma. So that was the, I think one of the speakers said about this thing, that, without ahankara. So if we can help others, if we can donate, if we can do something without ahankara, thinking as if I'm serving the self serving the self. That's the underlying thing. And I think that one of the speakers mentioned that listening, understanding, experiencing. I think I found that with, first two are listening, understanding, and then I added three more, and which is, I think, also mentioned by somebody. That's the connect, contemplate, and communicate. And this happens in the meditation. So in the meditation, this is what we connect ourselves, and then we contemplate on it, and then we communicate. And your questions get answered, straight away. And so I want to share. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mahindraji. Just a very quick point, when you mentioned desire, right? That's very interesting, because you see, it is your own desire. And then whatever you receive as a result of that desire, whatever it is, that is also you. Why? Because you are present right from the start to the end. But look at it. You see, you, the desire, and what you get is all in your view, isn't it? Nothing gets out of your view. So if nothing is getting out of your view, just think, it may seem a little bit deep now, but you see, in this view, everything is present, including yourself, isn't it? So is it possible that you yourself are everything in the view? Because the view comes from you. It doesn't come from anyone else. Contemplate on that, you see. Okay. Thank you, Mahindraji. All right. We'll go on to these verses by Sage Ramana, which we have been compiling over the years. So I'll just request Rajiv ji to follow through with everyone's name so that there's a link as we are reading. I will start with the first verse, and then Rajiv ji will, just tap on to who will follow next and next. So going to the verses, the first one is the radiance of consciousness bliss in the form of one awareness, shining equally within and without, is the supreme, blissful, primal reality. Its form is silence, and it is declared by the Gyanis, in bracket, those who have realized the self to be the final and the unobstructable state of true knowledge, Gyan.
I'll continue with that. Thank you, Anilji. The awareness which shines fully, without misery and without a body, not only when the world is known, but also when the world is not known, is your real form. I'll request Vijayji to continue, please.
Yeah. Vijayji, you are there?
Apologies, was on mute.
Okay.
Neither sleep nor the cognition of objects that men call wakefulness is true knowledge. In the true state of awareness, which is different from sleep and wakefulness, there is no awareness of objects, but consciousness alone shines. That brilliance is not empty.
Thank you. Thakurji, please.
Nature of awareness is existence, consciousness, bliss.
Surbhiji, please.
You there, Surbhiji?
Yes. Yeah. Because we see the variegated world and are enchanted, a single source with unlimited powers is the last to be identified. But the sage intuits that the seer, the seen, the screen on which all is projected, the light, and even oneself are all found to be only he, the one, the heart of the matter.
Thank you. Subhaji, please.
The awareness which shines fully, without misery, and without a body, not only when the world is known, but also when the world is not known, is your real form.
Nehaji.
When you pray for God's grace, you are like someone standing neck deep in water and yet crying for the water.
There is only one state, that of consciousness or awareness or existence. The three states of waking, dream, and sleep cannot be real. They simply come and go. They are only appearances. The real will always exist.
Amit.
There is no goal to be reached. There is nothing to be attained. You are the self. You exist always. Nothing more can be predicated of the self that is exist. Then that it exists. Sorry.
Mahindraji, please.
Myself?
Mahindraji, please.
The source from which the word and the mind rise and into which they set is turned reality, which does not rise, nor does it subside.
The supreme state of self-awareness is never absent. It transcends the three states of the mind and death.
Thank you. And then Poonamji, please.
God illumines the mind and shines within it, unseen. How then can one know God through the mind? Turning the mind inward and fixing it on Him alone is to have His vision. Thank you.
Poonamji, your video is off.
Ji, I just...
Okay. Yeah. All right. Next, Rajiv, who is next?
We can request others to come forward as they feel comfortable. So it is open house.
Yeah. I think you'll have to name someone, otherwise it will be hard.
Okay. Anybody who wants to come forward, you're welcome. Otherwise, then we will repeat the same sequence. So anybody who would like to go through a few verses, you're welcome.
Can I read number 13? Is it number 13?
It is number 13, please.
Please read it. Just switch your video on.
The only inquiry leading to self-realization is seeking the source of the I with in-turn mind and without uttering the word I. Meditation on I am not this, I am that may be an aid to the inquiry, but it cannot be the inquiry. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Anyone else?
Can I, Rajivji?
Please.
Yeah, sure.
One should act in the world like an actor on the stage. In all actions, there is in the background the real self as the underlying principle. Remember that and act on.
You want to go? Yeah. Quick.
Okay, Elaine, yeah, please. First,
Elaine.
number 15.
When one scrutinizes the form of the mind without forgetfulness, that is, without pramada or slackness of attention, it will be found that there is no such thing as mind. This is the direct path for all.
Theo, you can read the next one if you wish.
Yeah. Okay. When one scrutinizes within thus, what is the rising place of I? The I will die. This is a self-inquiry. Nana vichara.
Yes, anyone else, please? Verse number 17.
Can I?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay. Number 17, desireless action dedicated to God will purify the mind and it will show the path to liberation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Neeruji. Okay, Elaine, you want to take the next one? You there,
The
Elaine?
body, yes. The body does not say I. No one says, I do not exist while asleep. When that sense of I arises, all arises. So with your sharpest intellect, find out the origin of this I.
Vijay? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yes, please.
Celeste is there. Celeste, you want to read a verse? Swami Radhikananji, would you like to read?
I'll read the next one.
Yes, please.
Yeah. 19.
Is it 19?
Yeah, 19.
Okay. The body is essential. Not one produces the I, yet within the body's limit, an I arises that is not body and not reality. Call it ego, not of matter and spirit. Bondage, sin, subtle body, call it mind.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Poonamji, you wanted to, I think.
Ji.
Okay, yes. Verse number 20.
20, yes. Instead of firmly abiding in the heart, in one's own true state, to quarrel, real or unreal, form or formless, many or one, is to be blinded by illusion.
Okay. Neeruji, you want to read the 21st verse?
Okay. If one feels one is the doer, one must reap the consequences of his action. If one inquires who is the doer and enters the heart, the doership idea will end. No effect ensues where there is no vehicle to affect. This indeed is liberation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Rajivji, the last one.
Please, sir.
Yeah, you read it. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Silence is never-ending speech. Vocal speech obstructs the other speech of silence. In silence, one is in intimate contact with the surroundings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for participating in that. We will move on to the bhajans, and Poonamji is going to sing the first bhajan. Poonamji, over to you.
Ji. Narayana Vandana Nirantara Narayana Nithipati Narayana Pratinidhi Narayana Nithipati Narayana Pratinidhi Narayana Nithipati Narayana Pratinidhi Narayana Nithipati Narayana Pratinidhi Narayana आए नित नवनिधि घर के घट आए नित नवनिधि घर के घर नारायण का नित्य निरंतर कर नर अभिनंदन श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण नारायण श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण नारायण भजमन नारायण 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 भजमन नारायण 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 Shriman Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Narayan bina nar gyani, Narayan bina nar gyani, Narayan नर के वरदानी, नारायण नर के वरदानी। एक मनोरथ रथ में बैठे, एक मनोरथ रथ में बैठे, नित्य जनार्दन जन। श्रीमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, श्रीमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, भजमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, श्रीमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण। नर के नित्य सखा नारायण, नर के नित्य सखा नारायण, नर के कारण गीतादायन, नर के कारण गीतादायन। हम भगतन के भगत हमारे, हम भगतन के भगत हमारे, नारायण का प्रणव। श्रीमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, श्रीमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, भजमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, भजमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, श्रीमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, भज मन नारायण, 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 श्रीमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण, श्रीमन नारायण, नारायण नारायण।
Very beautiful, very beautiful, Puran.
Very beautiful, very well.
Very beautiful. Thank you for that. Okay, Ashaji, can you please your bhajan now?
Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Har Har Bole, Namo Shivaya, Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Har Har Bole, Namo Shiv Gangadharaye, Hare Hare Bolo, Namo Shivaya, Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole, Namo Shivaya, Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole, Namo Shivaya। जटाधरा शिव जटाधराए, हरे हरे भोले, नमो शिवाय। जटाधरा शिव जटाधराए, नमो शिवाय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय सोमेश्वराय शिव सोमेश्वराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय सोमेश्वराय शिव सोमेश्वराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय नमो शिवाय ओम नमो शिवाय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय नमो शिवाय ओम नमो शिवाय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय विश्वेश्वराय शिव विश्वेश्वराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय विश्वेश्वराय शिव विश्वेश्वराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय नमो शिवाय ओम नमो शिवाय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय नमो शिवाय ओम नमो शिवाय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय सोमेश्वराय शिव सोमेश्वराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय सोमेश्वराय शिव सोमेश्वराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय नमो शिवाय ओम नमो शिवाय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय नमो शिवाय ओम नमो शिवाय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय जटाधरा शिव जटाधराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय गंगाधरा शिव गंगाधराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय विश्वेश्वराय शिव विश्वेश्वराय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय ओम नमो शिवाय ओम नमो शिवाय हर हर ओम शिवाय हर हर भोले नमो शिवाय
Very beautiful, Ashaji. It's your voice is beautiful as always. Thank you, Vijayji. So you want to know the universal prayer and the short talk?
Hari Om, everyone. We will just recite towards the concluding session. We will recite a universal prayer, which is in English, which was composed by Swami Shivananda of the Divine Life Society in Rishikesh. And then we will do the concluding prayers with a short talk. O adorable Lord of mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Thou art Satchidananda. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion, and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptations and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, greed, hatred, anger, and jealousy. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember thee. Let us ever sing thy glories. Let thy name be ever on our lips. Let us abide in thee forever and ever. Let us abide in thee forever and ever. Hari Om Tat Sat. This universal prayer is such a beautiful expression of the acknowledgement that when an individual considers oneself as I, me, myself, and would like to get out of this notional arrogation that I am this, then the option available are many. That's why we have all these scriptures that we have saying, do this, do that. But one of the methods is surrender, and the other one is inquiry. This offering actually talks about all the mala, which is the notional mental rubbish that we store and accumulate over our entire life. What we think is there. Mala vikshepa, the mental ups and downs that we go through, and avarana, which is a veil, the veil of ignorance. And someone was mentioning some time back regarding the Upanishad, which is, in the Upanishad, it was talking about the awake state, the dream state, deep sleep state, and then you have the Turiya. So that in the Upanishad, the Mandukya Upanishad, it actually talks about the fact that in the awake state, we consider ourselves as this body mind. And that same personality that is there takes a different form in the sleep state as a different personality and goes through all the issues in a dream state. You have the ignorance and you have the wrong notion that I am this body. And then in the deep sleep state, you have the same issue of ignorance being there, but in a state of laya. It is in a state of abeyance. Because there is no arrogation that I am this body there. That is missing. So the wrong notion is not there in that deep sleep state. But ignorance is still there. Beyond these three states is what is Turiya, which is the light of pure awareness, light of pure consciousness that is ever present, which is your true nature, which is the substratum based on which the waking, dreaming, and the deep sleep state exist. We need to do all these methods to try and only get rid of the wrong notion that I am this body, mind, intellect. And this supplication, which is grant us this inner spiritual strength to resist temptations and to control the mind, free us from egoism, lust, greed, hatred, anger, and jealousy. These are the notional issues that we consider is ours when we consider that I am this body, mind. Essentially, you are not this body, you are not this mind, you are not this intellect. So, it is affecting that, but how do you remove it? It's only when through a tapas, when there is a purification of all this, and you remove these wrong notions that you are having all these issues, the light of pure consciousness automatically shines forth. You don't have to do anything to be in that state. As soon as these non-issues, I would term them, because they are issues as long as one considers oneself as this. But the non-issues, the notional issues are removed. The light of pure consciousness is ever there. And that's why the last line it says, let us abide in thee forever and ever. When the abiding takes place, that's called self-abidance, self-realization. And then when it becomes, the clarity of vision becomes permanent, it's self-abidance. And then there's complete and total absorption in that pure self. That is the goal. That is the only goal. And that is why this wrong notion that is there in the first place to be removed. It was never there in the first place. But if one considers that they are there, work towards removing the wrong notions only. Otherwise, there's nothing else to be done. Hari Om Tat Sat. Just finish off with some concluding prayers. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukameva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshi Amamritaat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukameva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshi Amamritaat. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukameva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshi Amamritaat. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay, I would like to thank everyone. So I just want to close with this transmission, a message from the sage, 5:23 p.m. Sydney time. So the sage conveys that may everyone find peace, happiness, bliss, and absorption in yourself. So thank you everyone for participating.